And that's another thing. OJ came to see me after he got out of jail. He came to see me. Anybody gets the Piper's round table, he had come the night before. I used to show OJ. I don't show him no more. Because when he came to see me, and I'm hearing from all of them too. I'm telling you, under the cover, I'm hearing from all. I even got, look here, I'm gonna tell you, who in here ain't got a job? Now, don't ain't embarrassing now. Who in here needs some money? Who in here needs money? Okay? Look. They say we can get $300,000 as the reward if we can catch that hunky killed Cosby son. Now, I'm going to tell you, you can't tell me a couple of hundred hungry people can't comb LA and catch them some perpetrator. Now, I'm telling you. And after that bank thing yesterday, they cut off that section of LA. How come they didn't cut it off to catch the Cosby killer? And if I ask you deeply about what happened right then, you can't tell me if he was in a car or on foot, and that white woman, Stephanie Crane, whose name was held secret for so long, set Ennis' ass up for execution because Daddy calls me, and Ennis calls me, and Stephanie Crane, and some more of them got the cocaine thing in their life. It was the same cocaine that Denise and Resnick and Nicole was running up all this cocaine bill, telling OJ, go pay it. When the Mafia boys told OJ, you better pay up for the women over here, he said they ain't having sex and doing cocaine and me paying. Bad enough they been driving my cars. I'm going to tell you something else. OJ was there that night she was killed. Marcus Allen, who had just slept with her, was there that night she was killed. And Al Collins was there that night. All three of them were there. Neither of them did it, but they all have to just come by. And they all had to scurry their ass out of there. And I'm going to tell you something, they cut a deal. When the boy Hodgman got sick, it had to come out of the case. Because when they found out they was all lying. And Hodgman couldn't take it. He really broke down. And he got out of it. Marcia Clark became the lead person. Hodgman got out, the tall white boy that would have done the case with the bald head. He had a breakdown. And his breakdown was, I can't take this. I can't pull it off. I can't hold all this lying together. Then the Furman tape came up, they cut a deal. The deal was, we will drop the investigation into all that thing Furman bragged about, and we'll let OJ out of here. And I'll show you the day they made the deal. That trial was over 3 weeks later to the day that they cut that deal. They investigated the Furman thing. They found nothing. Even though I even went and interviewed the Latin boys who he had jacked all up on the wall, and it was worse than was even in the tape. But they killed it all. And when Willie Williams, the police chief, wasn't going to play around, they went to Vegas where he and his wife was taking money from the Mafia and jacked him up and then checked him and let him sit there and oversee it as everybody got dissipated. And now OJ got to take his wax because that was part of the deal. But when he come to me, I said, brother, he said, look, I want you to help me be a brother. Brother Tony Muhammad of the Nation brought him to me during my lecture at the Good Life. And I told him, I said, look, you want to hang with me? You got to change your values. I can't bring you to no sisters I'll be serving and have you look out and not look at them as the beauty that you keep seeing in them white women. Unfortunately, other people didn't see it that way. One of my friends broke ranks and went and grabbed him and brought him to D.C. for no conditions at all. And he had his lecture in D.C. for no conditions at all. He took $10,000 out the black community and went on back home. And he wasn't made to do nothing. The condition for him hanging with me was he was going to have to do certain things. I wouldn't relinquish that. I wrote his speech that he gave at Oxford University. I'll show you him standing up on the stage and say, I've come to see Steve because I'm going to Oxford and I heard he was the expert on Rhodes and Rothschild. And then he whispers in my ear and he said, Steve, all of us are listening to the tapes, but we're afraid to approach you. I took a chance coming down here today because all the rest of them warned me you would have slammed me and ridiculed me in the public. And I treated him respectfully. I didn't slam him or jam him. He come here and say he wanted to be a brother. I took you on that flavor, but then when he jumped, broke rank, and ran away with my friend, who I don't even deal with no more, the oath taker. I don't even deal with him no more. I don't deal with OJ no more. He called me. He asked me to put a posse together to go find who killed his wife. I went to 12 cities, pulled down the strongest, most tenacious research men I found. Did 8 stories in black papers around those cities, setting up that I was taking a posse out of their town. We was going to Hollywood and bring us down some white boys. And I told OJ, only thing in it for me is the mafia boys. You got to give them up. You got to give me the name. He is held to this day. The mafia boys around them white women that could break the whole damn story up. And Fred Resnick, every time she knew the mafia boys was coming, she went and committed herself to one place she knew couldn't nobody touch her. Yeah. She didn't go to the police. She went to the damn drug rehab where they know you lock you up by yourself. You can't even let yourself out of there. But it's real. And as time comes, we're hearing from deeper than heard from Michael Jackson. But he didn't do what I asked. He dropped the white woman. We told him drop the white woman. He dropped the white woman. He gets another one. I ain't even gonna call Lawler. Tupac was my client. He reached out. How can you kill a black man in front of all Las Vegas? Anybody ever been to Vegas? Vegas is down in a tunnel down there. It's one way in and one. You go out one way to LA, you go out the other way to Reno or something, or you fly in. There ain't no 10 routes out of Vegas. It's like in a cave. You can't shoot nobody on fight night. Whereas more FBI in Vegas on fight night, looking around at the gambling, the interplay, the intelligence community floods Vegas on fight night. You're going to kill a man in front of everybody. And nobody got no clue to who done it. Only state of black America can the relinquishing of the hunt be abrogated back to hunters. Okay. Y'all ready to go home? Y'all had enough for the night? Oh, and while we on that Cosby thing, Cosby murder secrets. Yeah, you know, well, yeah, I had a rendezvous. And he said, I went back for some more rendezvous. She said, hey, peekaboo, you got a baby here. Oh, I just left Florida A&M University. There's a tape back there called Last Days of Martin King plus Cosby. I just left Florida A&M University. The girl, Autumn Jackson, was a student at Florida A&M up until mid-October. In fact, your black paper this weekend, the Houston News, has a column on it saying how Cosby paid for education up until November, which was good because that's the first time that didn't come out that clear, because we had already got the story out there. Now, you will see the young girls who were her roommate testify on my tape. In October 2nd of '96, Jesse Jackson came to Florida A&M and gave Autumn Jackson $50,000 cash on behalf of Bill Cosby to shut the fuck up. Excuse my language. I slipped out. I was getting pretty good. Now, 50,000 appears to be the shut the F up moment because that's how much Rock Newman gave Betty Shabazz never to raise Malcolm's name again to Mr. Farrakhan. And she took that 50,000 May 8th of '94 on the stage of the Apollo, and that's the only way you could go into the Million Man March till you cleaned all them things up. And by the way, that Corbilla Shabazz thing reminds me a lot of this Autumn Jackson Cosby thing. You know, that FBI extortion, assassination type of weird relationship that don't add up to nothing. Where's old girl Corbilla now? Right out here in San Antonio on drug therapy working for Percy Sutton, who got the radio station down there in San Antonio. Percy Sutton got LIV in New York. Cut the deal to send her down here. She did no jail time. It was a phony issue. But you had to clean up some old stuff, so they used circumstances to clean them up. What are they cleaning Cosby up for? Then he tells the story going to be on 60 Minutes in it. His minutes must have ran out because it never appeared. Must have had a rendezvous. And again, what are we into? State of black America. Any black man that dabbles over in Pinky Land in 97 is in trouble. Pinky Land equal quicksand. As I walk with you through your Pinky Land, highest black man in the military, McKinney, on his way to answer the drug case, all of a sudden, he had walked his way through Pinky Land. And he came back to haunt his ass. Pinky Land. Black man in the military, McKinney, had to give it up, resign, for having slept in Pinky Land. So, state of black America, if you see one walking past you, say, brother, it's 97, you're running out of time. And I'm going to tell you something. Love can catch you in any kind of way. But I told OJ, if you just change your values, you couldn't get in the trap. See, do you understand that in 1997, even April of 96, I can show you a story in the Library of Congress, House Organ, in a magazine called Civilization. And that magazine called Civilization did this story right here. This is important. Civilization, the House magazine in the Library of Congress, is located at 666 Pennsylvania Avenue, right down the street from the Senate. And the Congress, mapping the past, researchers are finding clues to the mysteries of their origins. This is, the issue is March, April 96. It says if you call yourself Irish, if you call yourself Jewish, you have no idea how your ethnic group fits in the chain of human development. The story suggests that white people to this day have been unable to link the white race to any other humans on the planet. And they are now resorting to DNA. Did they come from you? No. You are not a lower manifestation of humanism called eventually European man. He has no known get-up. Now imagine a man with no known origin. Stupid, peeks over the mountain. Remember the Diop, two-cradle theory. Sun people, ice people, as Jeffrey said, didn't get in trouble until he got that clear. Never got in trouble until he got that clear. Sun people, ice people. One person grew up and said, I'm going to kick God's ass. That God put us in this cold quest for fire, rock, hilly, muddy, cave. Almost looked like Houston today. All wet and gray. All we needed was some hills and lack of vegetation. We would have been at the dawn of the white man. I go to these white schools, I ask the white kids, where do y'all come from? If I ask 20, I get 19 different explanations. The only point is I'm trying to tell you, why follow somebody who don't even know where they came from? But keeping the secret that they don't know who they are is important to keep the believability that we give them. To keep us keep coming back to that devil. You'd go to the devil and ask the devil to answer to what the devil did. Look, devil, will you tell me why you did this? So I was the same devil that did it. Doesn't he recognize me? Doesn't he recognize me? I'm the same devil. Let me step back. He might get to looking at my face and shit. Remember, I'm the same devil. Hey, the world military is a Pentagon. You got to take in the Kabbalah, when you take the Kabbalah primer, to make the Pentagon, you got to make the golden minis. If you know anything about geometry, to make the Pentagon, which is the military headquarters of the New World Order, to make the ABCD of that angle, you got to go to the golden minis. In the piece on the Knights of Templar, they did it on the Learning Channel. They showed that all the major churches of Europe are on points that would match that map. They're 90 miles apart, all the key churches of Europe. The man who did the book Holy Blood, Holy Grail did a documentary for the Learning Channel showing that all of the major churches of Europe would hit you right on that diagram and form the golden middies. And we also believe that churches across America make the same angle because ain't nobody went through no spears. Anyway. All right. Now, all of these other things will begin to make more sense. And this was the story I was trying to find for you earlier. This was one of the few stories that raised questions about the way the numerology the minister threw into the Million Man March, talking about 555 feet high, and then he added a 1, and then he talked about 19, Lincoln being 16th president, Jefferson being third. Together they made 19, the 19 steps on the Capitol. All of that dialogue was never answered by whites. In all of the stories, they only mentioned 4 things. Join an organization, take the pledge not to use the B word, register and vote, and what was the 4th one? Adopt children. Those were the 4 things that he said do positive in all of the reports of the Million Man March. Those are the only things whites, they didn't touch none of the numerology. Until we started dabbling in it, and then the Post came out with that North going sideways, trying to hide Golden Mendes, which would only mean something to you if you could walk your ass up to New Haven, Connecticut and know it's sitting in the middle of the 9th square. It would mean nothing to you, and to 99.9% of the people it didn't. And then when we did the lecture, I was showing you the dates of those stories. This is the flyer from the lecture the brother and I did. Washington, D.C. and Freemasonry, Satan's Door to America. And we had it in Eastern Market on December 8th of 95. And then we took that same flyer, superimposed it, and put their symbols all around it. Now this brother, he done left me now. He got back with the other side. And that's in the tape, Transgressions Equal Confessions, which is in the back. That's another story. Everybody don't last forever in this thing. We both got banned from the radio, and he got cold. He wanted to get back on the radio, so he apologized, got back on the radio. His apology is in the tape. And my lectures are full. His lectures are full. I ain't gonna know my rights, and I won't. Now everything begins to make more sense. April 4th of 67, Martin King decides that nonviolence ain't working. He got bricked in the head in Chicago. Nonviolence ain't working. No, really, Martin King said, look, we need some drastic change. We're going to have to put the poor people in Washington, and we're going to have to come against the war in Vietnam. And all the preachers warned him, don't go there. Don't do that, Martin. Roy Wilkins condemns him. Whitney Young condemns him. Senator Byrd, Jesse Helms, all of the whites come against him. Martin King, you can't control your people at the demonstration. Now you would know why it was so important to destabilize what went on in Memphis, to make it look all wild and out of control, because they wanted to prove, Martin, don't come to Washington with them people, because you see, you can't control people. The only problem was they had already had to march on Washington in 63, whereas Malcolm and they were well behaved. So to think that he couldn't control what was already well behaved was not logical. It would be like denying the nation the permit on the second Million Man March, saying the first one was too out of control. And it wasn't, and they did get a second one right in the middle of New York. So it's more logical that you would be assisted rather than rejected. So something opposite went with Martin King. The press loved Martin King up until April 4th, 67, when he came against the war. They all went against him. They killed his ass a year to the day he went against the war in Vietnam, April 4th of 68. Very symbolic that they took him on the day he made the call. I have come to appreciate Martin as far greater a man than I've ever understood in the past. Those people who arose to imitate Martin have never come nowhere near the revolutionary that was deep in the brother's skin. As you look at him walk next to Kwame Ture, understand he made himself available to other viewpoints. And Kwame began to rub off with him. If you look at that eye on the prize, Kwame Ture says, Martin King called me. He told me he's going to come against the war in Vietnam. I said, if you do, I will come right in the first row. And he was there in a shirt and tie. As Martin King began to evolve and to become more like those who had other options. And the whites looked up and said, hey, now there's a tape back there that says H versus P. The word is homosexuality versus promiscuity. J-Edgar-Hoover was the homosexual. He was wearing women's clothes, going to the Park Sheraton Hotel in New York, sleeping with the Jewish attorney named Roy Cohen. Getting blonde-haired white boys of 19 wearing rubber gloves, fondling them in all their parts. And this was Hoover. This is the book, The Official Secret Life of Hoover by Anthony Summers, excellent British writer. And in there they talked about how Meyer Lansky and Frank Costello and Sam Giancana, who had pictures of Hoover being a gay actor, white-mailed him to the point that he couldn't see the mafia. They said, who will get the mafia? He said, where's the mafia? There's no mafia. mafia around here. Where's the mafia? I ain't found no mafia. And it took that Joe Valachi thing to make him testify that there was something that they call Costa Nostra, or the mafia, or whatever the term was. You go back historically, Hoover was soft on mafia because they was deep in his pictures of women's clothes. Now, Hoover wanted to wiretap Martin King, but the Kennedys wouldn't let him. Robert Kennedy kept insisting, said, Hoover, man, you need to hire some black FBI agents. So Hoover went out and took his 5 drivers and made them all FBI instantly. So the first 5 FBI men were all chauffeurs and butlers of Hoovers, who didn't do no training, no nothing, just got made FBI when Robert Kennedy kept bugging him. But then Hoover kept saying, look, I need this wiretap on Martin King. I'm telling y'all, he ain't the man y'all think he is. And so he sees John Kennedy sleeping with Jackie Kennedy's press secretary. John Kennedy sleeping with this Japanese woman. John Kennedy sleeping with this Edna woman from Europe who's in some Soviet spy ring just brought down the defense minister of England. John Kennedy sleeping all around Angie Dickerson. John Kennedy sleeping with Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe started liking it so much she started calling John Kennedy on all his private numbers. John, you got to come out here now. I need you, John. And John said, look, you got to quit calling me here. Nobody else is telling me. You got to quit this. You got to quit this. So she said, John, I'm going to kill myself if you don't come out here and give me some, John. Robert Kennedy hits the red button on his phone. So it's a call from John. Look, Robert, you're going to have to go out there to see Marilyn because she keeps calling me, man. Robert Kennedy rushes to L.A. Peter Lawford meets him at the airport. Hey, boom. Marilyn, you got to quit calling my brother. Robert? Oh, Robert. Robert sleeps with her. But old Gay Edgar. Now, I took a pledge never to call a woman a bitch, but he was a bitch. But the key thing to that is remember now, on his shift, everybody got killed. And it was the bitch in him that allowed him to murder so deeply. I'm going to say it again. If it had been a man, he wouldn't have used killing so wildly. But as a bitch, killing was his M.O. Now, his homosexuality traded the pictures of the promiscuity of the Kennedys, traded the Kennedys' promiscuity to get the right, to get the first wiretap on Martin King at the Willard Hotel, where Martin had a little sex party, and there Hoover took them tapes, sent them to Carl Rowan, sent them around the White House, sent them around to everybody and say, hey, look, Martin King's just a man. We're going to kill his ass. He's just, see, I told y'all he wasn't no Messiah. He was just a man. And as soon as they think you just a man, and they do extraordinary things, they come on in there and exercise their power over just men or just women. It's important that you understand. That's why I did a whole lecture on homosexuality versus promiscuity, because if you can't control yourself, if you go to leadership, it's more than likely you'll be worthless, because your habits will not sustain the pressure of big power. Big power will magnify every little problem you got. So it's important for us to send the signal to the virgins to come on out to help the black community, because their qualifications, though not as smart, are better than those who are leading. That's a metaphysical question. Now let's do this quickly. And now y'all gotta help me. I want to do a little bit of this Martin King thing. Now, I got to take a donation for myself. That's part of what makes me strong. And I don't want to start this and I get to leaving, because then I hurt myself by not taking a donation. So y'all just give me a minute. I got something very startling I think I need to show you. You might find important. And then, how many of you all are willing to come tomorrow? Oh, we got a few more. Yeah, a few more. All right. I don't know. We'll do a little better now. How many of you be willing to try to call somebody to tell them to come tomorrow? All right, and it'll only work if you do, because no one else knows. And believe me, if it's 12 people, I'll do it like I did if it was 50, 100, 1,000. 50, 100, 1,000. Now, okay. Yeah, be 15, dog. If it's 15, I'm going on. Yeah, it's 15, I'm leaving. Okay. Al Sharpton wrote a book, Come to the Mountaintop or something. It got me all excited. I read his book. I hung with Sharpton a year ago. He backed me up. Sharpton's a strange character. You got to ride him. He'll work with you. But he's a strange character. But every city needs an Al Sharpton. And really, for the role that he performs, he's got some weird things on him. And his hair and his style, a lot of things. But in New York, they love Al Sharpton. I'm going to tell you. They love him some Al Sharpton. Yeah, just an interesting situation. Anyway, he wrote this book, and go and tell Pharaoh. And I remember being with him when he told me he got a $250,000 advance for this book. And I was intrigued because he ain't never wrote a book before. And it's pretty interesting. You get a $250,000 advance and you ain't never wrote a book. And people who write books don't get that kind of money. They got to publish their own book. Pay to print the book. Anyway, that's another story. So I was reading this book, and he got to talking about how Jesse Jackson is the true leader, and Abernathy was jealous of Jesse, and history proved that Jesse was the man, and Abernathy was just jealous. Now, I thought about Abernathy. One thing he didn't have was ambitious characteristics. He was a very humble, low-key man. I remember reading this book when he said at the end he was at the morgue when they saw Martin King's head open, and he said the tears went down my face as I saw the final act of dehumanization of my buddy. He said, it's that moment when I looked at Martin's head that I knew that my buddy wasn't in that body no longer. And he stayed with the body all the way until Nelson Rockefeller sent the airplane to Memphis to fly all of them out of Memphis into Atlanta. Now, Sharpton got me a little pissed off. I was reading this book, and I turned to the next page. This is page 3, and he goes, I believe, my activities, I graduated, I was, I would, I was, I acted, I saw, I was, my, me. I said, okay, I turn to the next page. You know, after that, I said, let me go back and look at this thing about Abernathy, Jesse, the breakaway SCLC and all that. And I ain't gonna get into all of them details, but it only led me back into them last moments of Martin King. That's what the tape back there says, last moments of Martin King. The video is there from Florida A&M 2 weeks ago, and that's with the Cosby girls on the bottom. Remember, Jesse brought the $50,000 to tell her to be quiet. She withdraws from school, goes out and buys a $31,000 car cash, and withdraws from school and says, see, I told y'all Cosby was my daddy. Cosby came down to Florida A&M the next week, second week of October of 96, and gives a big donation to Florida A&M and makes a joke. Well, y'all know I only give money when my children go to school. And that's right, he built a student center at Spelman, big money at Morehouse. He goes down to Florida A&M and drops a donation where his daughter from the rendezvous is at. And she was a white woman too. The woman he slept with to make Harlem Jackson was a white woman. But Johnny Cochran had that white woman in his past, caused him some problem at his highest moment. Been in Pinky Land. Anybody here want to confess any Pinky Land activity before we find out later? Quickly, let me do this quickly. 1963, FBI writes a memo. This is the memo from my books on the COINTELPRO. This is the actual memo where the FBI says that they want to develop someone with a compelling personality who at the moment that Martin King is totally discredited will replace and become the new head of Negro leadership. It's clear at some perfidious point in time, clear to us that Martin King must at some perfidious point in time in the future be revealed to the people of this country as the Negro and his Negro followers as being what he actually is, a fraud, demagogue, scoundrel, blah, 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 blah. The Negroes, it can be done. Confusion will reign, particularly among the Negro people. Negroes will be left without a national leader of sufficiently compelling personality to steer them in the proper direction. This is what could happen, but need not happen if the right kind of national Negro leader could at this time be graduated gradually developed. This is 1963. Let's jump over North Carolina A&T. Let's zoom in on where is Jesse Jackson in 1963. He's at North Carolina A&T. This is from the book that's out now on Jesse. Where Samuel Proctor, who is the head of North Carolina A&T, is keying him in on how to be Martin King, because he was Martin King's, he was a student mate of Martin King at Boston University. This is 63. Jesse never met Martin King until 2 years later. But they called Proctor Jesse's spiritual Merlin. Now, what was Merlin? For who? King Arthur. Okay, he was a magician for Arthur. And so, helped him pull something out of the stone or something. Was that in there too? Yeah. Oh, okay. So he could be king. So he could be Martin King. So now he's teaching Jesse how to be like Martin. Some strange things happen. There's demonstrations on the campus. Page 176 of the book Jesse. Demonstrations on the campus. The students made notes. This is in 4 different books. There's strange things happen. You can imagine the tension among those guys who had sweated through the movement a long time before him, said Stanley. Now Jesse was showing up in photos out front looking good. We began to swear that Jesse was showing up in the Greensboro Daily. Even when he was not present, he would be in the picture and we'd say, but he wasn't even there. So in 63, go over to FBI's developing somebody gradually. In 63, Jesse's being credited with doing things that he wasn't even at. The students watching this don't know the significance of what they're watching. All of a sudden, something else strange happens. Jesse then sees the students are getting mad at him for being credited with what he didn't do, so he sets up a dilemma and gets himself arrested. When he gets arrested, he has somebody put out 10,000 flyers all over A&T saying, quote, your great leader has been arrested. This is 97. Niggas still ain't great. We talking about 63 with no background, putting the word great on his name. We in 97, I wouldn't get a nigga great. All right? It's quick now. So then Jesse goes to jail. What does he do? Martin King goes to jail in Alabama. What did he write? The letter from where? So when he next go to jail, he planned to be Martin King, 63. He got to be the FBI's man to replace Martin King. He gets himself formally arrested. He sends the letter from the Greensboro jail. Now, I figure that they must have a spy formula, because there's some Negroes in D.C. Now, y'all from D.C., tell me if you don't know this nigga to be like Jesse's son. I looked up, they got little niggas in D.C. doing letters from the D.C. jail. That's Mark Thompson. He a real, just like Jesse type, doing the letter. It must be some agent handbook that says, first agent gets into trouble. Then agent releases letter from jail. You know, with that bullshit. Now, again, maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe I don't know. All of a sudden, Jesse's about to hook up with the head of Duke University, but jumps in, Rockefeller Foundation jumps in, gives him one of only 25 grants to black students. He ends up at the School of Divinity at the University of Chicago, instead of at Duke University, where eventual Governor Stanford wanted him to come. Stanford or Duke wanted him to go into politics in North Carolina, get him out of A&T. But Rockefeller Foundation, on Proctor's insistence, grabs him and brings him up to Chicago. Martin Luther King's man in Chicago was James Bevel. See, you look at it now, it looks like Jesse's bigger than Bevel. But in them days, Bevel was the man. Jesse come in under Bevel. Bevel in 65 brings Jesse into SCLC and eventually takes him to Selma for the first time. Funny thing happens, Andy Young and all the rest of them get down there and said, like Reverend Wyatt said, there was real resistance to him at first. You know, he comes this young upstart to tell us what to do. We've been here all this time. Then he started speaking. He grind all his punchlines. Now these are all of the blacks who get to see him for the first time in 65. Noticing that there's something funny about him. Every time Martin comes, he got to be the one to pick him up. He got to be the one to drive him. He always acts strange around Martin. His steadily closer attachment to King. When King would come to the field there, Professor Jackson would pick him up at the airport in a limousine from Jackson. He was hungry. King began to commend him as rallies for second, as now the relationship began to develop. In fact, they say Jesse came down and said Jackson was selected largely in Bevel's urgings. Said, and then when they were supposed to be, said then they come down there, people are down there getting in line. Said instead of getting in line, and he said that was Jesse. Jesse came up, this big, handsome, natural leader, young man, you know, not just as somebody who wanted to take part, but as a leader of the Chicago delegation. And it says Jesse wouldn't get in line. He started lining people up. He immediately got out front. Got guardian animal. And automatically started directing marches, functioning. He wasn't even on the staff yet. But he was compelled, obsessed, to be attached to Martin King because the FBI had someone who they were gradually developing a compelling personality. And Jesse's promiscuity, which was as great as Martin King's, was never used against him in the public like they used it on Martin King. The men who were around Mark, who they call communists, Jack Odell, one in particular, who Hoover told King he's a communist, don't be with him. Jack Odell was a founding member of Operation Push. They never stigmatized Jesse over Odell like they stigmatized Martin for Odell. I ain't into the fight, just into the differences in reaction. Okay? Notice here, Jesse finally gets with Martin in 65. COINTELPRO says FBI efforts to discredit King during his last months. Between 65 and early 67, FBI files indicate that the Bureau's concerns about Martin King had decreased. What had happened was they no longer needed the external wiretaps. They now had inside placement. So FBI monitoring the King's records changed. We've been trying to get Jesse Jackson's FBI file. All we keep coming up with is a personnel number. This is the book that talks about Hoover's homosexuality. The official and confidential secret life of gay Edgar Hoover. But the point of it is, and he talks about very importantly, how the mafia used this to contain Hoover. And then that made Hoover overextend himself on black organizations. Why was Hoover, remember the movie Black Panther? When Hoover and them decide they got to keep drugs out there in Oakland because the Panther's going to wipe it out. Think back of all the things that Hoover did against black people that he didn't do against the mafia. If the mafia ever had an adverse impact on the black neighborhood, it would have never got to be so strong if Hoover had done to it what he did to Marcus Garvey. Anyway. And part of how Hoover was not attacked in the black community was that many people thought he was a Negro. Hoover had no daddy's name on his birth certificate. Many people allege that he was a mulatto. In the early days of Hoover, he went around the black community and was called a black man. And that's how the apprehensions of Hoover never escalated, because they kept saying he's a Negroid. Last days of Martin King. Go back to Abernathy's book. Everybody says don't get it because Abernathy talked about Martin having sex. If you can't deal with the reality of someone's promiscuity, then you can never understand how the forces used it to make on or to escalate his demise. If you make a commitment to a woman and you don't keep that commitment and the woman don't catch you, it's all right, because you lose in the ultimate scheme of commitments when you need that extra in the blind thing and something works against you. Now that's a whole another law now. Do we want to live under that law? If we do, we've got to operate, because we can win, but we got to operate under that other law that don't nobody have to look for it to be in effect. And if we do that, we work it off, we got it. Yeah, but don't nobody want to go there, sister. They don't want to. Now, let's go there. This is now in the last days. Jesse Jackson and James Bevel are the major adversaries against Martin having the march on Washington. They're the major adversaries against Martin going back to against the war in Vietnam. And here's Abernathy talking about in the last 6 staff meetings of Martin King's life, he walked out of 5 of them because Jesse Jackson and James Bevel got up on chairs in the meeting and started talking down to the other staff members and demanded that they cut Martin Luther King loose. And Martin walked out of 5 of the last 6 meetings before he died. And in Dick Gregory's book and Mark Lane's book, you notice if you watch the index, it goes March 28th, March 29th. It skips March 30th, which is Martin's last staff meeting. This is the big meeting where finally he comes back on Jesse Jackson. And everybody says that's the maddest I ever seen Martin at any staff member ever. Martin doesn't make up with Jesse till he leans over the balcony to tell him he can come to dinner that night. Yeah, that's another story. Now, quickly, because I want to end this. This is last days of Martin King is back there. The full version takes 4 hours, so I got to do it in 4 more minutes. And so, how do we bail out? They're saying we can't go into Washington, we'll fail. How do we bail out? What do you mean bail out? Martin said. What do you mean? If we don't succeed and we don't get any kind of results, then how do we bail out the situation? Martin's eyes flashed. I don't care about bailing out. I just want to see I just want these people to be seen by the American public, and my poor people. They're invisible now. If the public can just see them, then something would be done. We don't like it. If we don't make any progress, we'll lose faith. Martin listened with barely constrained anger. He had seen visions of Marks, Mississippi that would haunt him for the rest of his short life, and these two were talking about bailing out and saving face. And he argued with them at great length, trying to make them see the logic of his plan, trying to convince them that they had to take chances if they were going to accomplish great things, but they were unrelenting in their opposition. They don't talk about that today while they out act like they want to hear what James or Ray got to say. They just want to make sure Ray mumbles some shit for his side. He don't say, Jackson, Bevel. He don't start mumbling some stuff. In fact, many of the major leaders of today did not arise until their real daddies died. All of them rose off of someone else's death. That's a whole nother subject. And another thing I'm going to tell you what's wrong in the black community. The state of the black community is that traditional black leadership was elder-based. We now run on our organizational leadership and institutional leadership. Young people of temperate stages who are still going through growth in life, who lead large volumes of people, when it should be elder-based, who then instruct leadership, who then guide the masses. We've taken the elder, we've become American. We've taken elder out of the leadership base. But we're going back because leadership tends to be too tepid, too insecure. I got a big problem. I'm an FBI agent. I'm everything. They keep calling me everything under the sun. I don't have to even give a day's damn because we just got to keep going. We know where we're going. I don't know where they're going. I don't even ask them. I look and watch what they do. I'll be laughing sometimes that someone even follow that. But some people ain't fit to stand where we standing. Martin listened with barely constrained anger. He had seen visions of Marks, Mississippi that would haunt him for the rest of his short life. These two were talking out about bailing out, saving face. He argued with them at great length, trying to make them see the logic of his plan, trying to convince them we had to take chances if we were going to accomplish great things. But they were unrelenting in their opposition. Two young pragmatists were lecturing the older, more experienced idealists. Finally, Martin broke off the debate and left the meeting. He left the meeting 5 out of 6 times before he died. As he noticed, they kept edging into his chest. They was all up in his chest too tight. He noticed they was too tight on him. And interesting, today, Minister Farrakhan was on CNN at 4:30, and I saw him do the same thing to him they did to Harold Washington before they killed him. They turned to Louis Farrakhan and said, well, Ben Shavers just joined your organization. Is he not your heir apparent? And Farrakhan, because I've talked to him personally about this, and before I gave the public lecture on what happened to Harold Washington, I gave it to the minister personally. And he came out and supported me at the mosque that Sunday to tell them to come hear the lecture. And Because then they kept telling Harold Washington before he died, was Harold, if anything were to happen to you tomorrow, who would? And they just kept wanting him to name the right damn name. And if he named that name, they would have capped his ass the next morning. And Harold, he listened to that question, he went, ooh. He hit the table and said, I run it from the grave. He didn't name the name they wanted. Now the key thing is this. The same man that told him that he should replace Harold Washington was the same man that told Jesse Jackson he should replace Martin King. A white man in Chicago named Don Rose. I'm going to show you him real quickly as I end this section. Same man. From 68 all the way up to 87 is when Martin died. One year. Go this up. I'm sorry. Harold died 87. Here we go here. This is Martin gets to Memphis. Martin finds out that Andy didn't. Andy's pointing like Jesse's pointing at that phony spot. Martin gets to Memphis, says Andy didn't explain why Andy didn't go to a meeting he was supposed to. Said Andy didn't go to the hearings. Martin was furious. Some things couldn't be helped, but this omission was inexcusable. Andy had been made executive president of SCLC just so he could speak for the organization on such occasions. He was second in command. He had failed to come through again. Martin was highly vocal in his expression of dissatisfaction. That's 2 days before Martin dies. Now all you can see in the last days of Martin King is all you're going to see him pissed at everybody. I'm pissed at you. I'm pissed at you. I'm pissed at you. I'm pissed at you. Ralph, the night before he dies, the speech that he says, I've been to the mountaintop, he didn't go to. He says, Ralph, I want you to go get that speech for me tonight at the Masonic Temple. And Ralph says, Martin, you know them people are going to be asking for you. He says, come on. He said, no, I want you to speak. He said, well, let me take Jesse with me. Let Jesse speak. He said, Ralph, I'm telling you now, only you can speak for me, Ralph. Only you will speak at that meeting tonight at the temple, Ralph. You can take Jesse, but Jesse's not to speak for me. And I'm going to show you him saying that. Yeah, it's time to get free. That's what time it is. I'm going to run out of time on these other things. Okay. I just go to the whole card then. And on the mysterious deaths in New World Order, anybody got this picture? That night when they get to the hall, when they get to the hall, Abernathy sees all these people. He says, man, he gets on the stage, people are hollering, they're waiting for Martin. He says, look, he turns to Jesse, he said, look, I better call Martin. Jesse says, don't call him. What are you going to call Martin for? If you don't want to give a speech, I'll give it. Abernathy said, I lifted my head back and I ran to the telephone and called Martin. Martin comes to the temple. He gives the speech, everybody, I've been to the mountaintop. But I want you, if you got that film at home, you got the eye on the prize, watch Martin turn around after he gives that speech and walks back to the people standing there and watch Jesse go. And he sees the people cheering and he touches Martin again. And he looks real like Judas. And you'll see it all over his face. The picture won't lie. It's in the tape, in the Mysterious Deaths video, it's in there, in the third tape. Now, Martin gives the speech. Somebody changes Martin's room from 204. Some white man comes in and says, I'm with Martin King, changes him to 306. Martin King was shot with a 30-06 rifle. He was put in room 306. He was called to the balcony at 3 minutes to 6. He was dead at 6:01. Probably just a coincidence that there was 3 I-6s in that little line up there. And Jesse mentioned how odd it was that the front page of the paper mentioned Martin King staying in room 306 the day he was killed. And then, of course, when they went to call the police, the operator wasn't there because she had a heart attack right when Martin King got killed. She had a heart attack right on the switchboard. They couldn't even call nobody. And then you got that whole thing about the blood and all of that. I'll just leave all of that in there, but I want to tell you this. that right after Martin King died, 104 articles came out in the next year claiming that Jesse Jackson was the heir apparent to Martin King. He said 3 things. 1, he had the blood of Martin King on his shirt. 2, he was the last person to talk to Martin King. 3, he was the only heir to King's throne. And the man who told him that was Don Rose. Don Rose, a white Jewish man in Chicago, was the man that told Jesse Jackson after he left Atlanta, he left Memphis, strangely. I did this TV show in Chicago, The Last Days of Martin King on cable. Jesse Jackson saw the video. He called Al Sharpton at home, got mad at Sharpton for igniting me into doing the investigation. Sharpton and I give a lecture in New York together at the Borough Manhattan City College. When I get there, Sharpton's people rush me up to the private room. Sharpton says, man, I got to talk to you. He says, you don't know how influential this Martin King thing is? Jesse called me. He's pissed at me. He ain't mad at you. He pissed at me for getting you ignited. He said, but I called all my friends, and they all gave me words of support for you, Steve. And Reverend Wyatt T. Walker, Jesse's man in New York, said, if Jesse ever mess with you, tell him this. Said, Jesse, how did you get out of Memphis the night Martin King was killed? In that the highway was closed, the buses were closed, the train was closed, and the airport was closed. How did you get out of Memphis? Throw that to the side. 104 stories come out after Martin dies. Jesse goes to Chicago, ends up at the city council, ends up on Today's Show. On the way to the Today Show, Don Rose tells him he should be the heir apparent. The interesting thing is that when Harold Washington died, Don Rose told Tim Evans, the man who fought to be Harold Washington's heir apparent, the man who was touted as Harold Washington's replacement 2 months before he died, Tim Evans, was told by Don Rose and Jesse Jackson that he was the heir apparent to Harold Washington. Don Rose did Martin King. Don Rose did Harold Washington. Don Rose is still alive today. Many people got hung up in Don Roseism and followed behind the behind-the-scenes anointed leadership and never recovered. Jesse, of course, malfeasant, great money, messes up $550,000 of government money. It was over $3 million. They made a settlement. They allowed, the amount was later lowered in negotiations to $1 million, then to $550,000. Jesse Jackson was allowed to pay back $125,000 a year. And that's when he jumped to the Rainbow Coalition. As soon as Operation Push repaid his debt, now he's back in Chicago at Operation Push. But any black man malfeasance a government grant, he go to jail. He don't get no sign-out agreement. My point is not to spend all this time on Jesse Jackson, but it's to say that even right now, what's up in the state of the race is that we're bound to make the same mistakes because we've never punished the people who perpetrated the last garbage we got stuck in. And because they've gone acted against, it's likely they would try it again. Now what I'm going to do now, I got to pass the hat for Brother Coakley. Before we walk out of here, I want to preview for you this CIA thing. Now I suggest to you that Coakley's CIA style is like nothing you ever seen on the issue. They had an investigation into MENA, and they've already ruled that nothing went on there. The whole foundation to proving they sold drugs goes down in MENA. Hey, anybody ever seen that book by Tyrone Powers, The Eyes of My Soul, of an FBI agent? Where in that book, he don't mention nothing about Ricky Ross and all them other things he know about. Anyway, let me say this. The only way I'll make it is if you help me make it. Only way my family make it is if you help us make it. I appreciate Brother Rodney, the Black United Front of Houston, Brother Harry, and all those people who helped them who are here tonight to help the brother have a chance to share his information. I'm going on limited versions of it because I don't have time to do the depth of it, which is why those tapes back there are there, because there's deeper information in there. I've been in places with Brother Collins, people write $100 checks, $1,000 checks. I don't have the gall to ask you on that level, but I am that deserving. I'm not ashamed to ask to support myself, so I hope you all do the best you can. I really appreciate that you do. Please come tomorrow at 4, because we're going to go straight into the CIA issue, and I guarantee you it will be very important for you to know the cornerstones of the issue the way I see it, so you can be an effective actioneer within that issue. And usually I like to pass the hat because I do better when I pass it. Because people tend to want to put more money in it when I'm there standing there holding it. So don't make me feel like I need to be there. And if you got $200 in your pocket and you throw two in there, I mean, that's all right. But if you could help, I'm the one you want to help, believe me. Even though you may never see me again in your life, I ain't going nowhere much. You might not want to come around no Cosby program no more. CIA. Also, again, I got all that new stuff on the Boule. I got all these secret documents on the Boule and military intelligence. It's in a 2 videotape set back there called Boule Secret Relationships. It's the 2 lectures for $50. Hold on just 1 second, Tom. It's also the Last Days of Martin King 4-hour lecture. It's back there in video, real clear, all on overhead. It's $40 from Florida A&M last week. The B Center 666 96 is the audio that's similar to the Golden Mindy stuff. Base Theory on Evil is the video, and the old takers out of videos that match it. Last Days of Martin King is back there in audio and video. Copley and Coringa on LA Radio is back there. I appreciate all of the support you can give. On the CIA drug issue, it is very important to prove that they sell drugs. You got to tell how they sell drugs in the past. Tomorrow we're going to look at Sam G. and Cotton.
Make sure everybody got
Anybody missed the bucket? Anybody want to put another $100 in there? Didn't put it in there this time. Yes, Brother Thomas, you want to ask me something?
Yeah.
This brother came all the way from...
No.
Oh, that's right. What Thomas said? I'm sorry. You look like Brother Thomas. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Hey, I'm sorry.
Carl Rowan.
You got the same shirt on there.
Carl Rowan gave King a lot of flack.
Carl Rowan gave King a lot of flack. Right.
Part of the Boule or something?
Well, let's go back to that tape that got released by Lyndon Johnson when he called the white senator. He said, look, I got a nigga I'm going to appoint, and I don't want no trouble. Now, when his name go down to the Senate, I don't want you to cut his groin out or something. Now, he's talking to the, he said, well, you know I can't vote for it. Then he said, I didn't say you had to, but just don't treat him. He's a good nigga. He's done everything I asked. He traveled with me to Europe and everywhere. So, all of that, and of course, he was Malcolm's nemesis. And Malcolm in the New World Order. I mean, it's an unprecedented thing about what would the impact be if Malcolm was still alive. And that's a whole nother thing in itself. Oh, that's right here. Anyway, we won't be up on that. But Sam Giancana sold drugs with the CIA. We're going to hear him talk about that tomorrow. Ex-CIA officer John Stockwell, he talked about in his book about the Golden Triangle. CIA sold drugs. The Golden Crescent, CIA sold drugs. The French Connection, remember the movie? CIA selling drugs with the French intelligence. Ex-CIA officer, former head of station chief in Africa. We're going to look at him tomorrow. This is the check. Strangely, FEMA gave Maxine Waters, for a congressional district, a $3,500,000 grant right before this issue got started. They had African American Unity Day around a 6-foot-long FEMA check. I don't know what that's about, but if they fail, I'm going to be in their ass about this check. Who's been in the CIA? We're going to look at the directors, the deputy directors. You need to know those names. Mena, Arkansas. You need to know about the airplane traffic that was in Mena, the secret airport. The black man who ran economic development that sold drugs for Clinton is now the personnel chief of the White House, Bob Nash. Black man. Well, look at Tyrone Power's book, The Rise and Decline FBI Agent. He didn't know nothing about Ricky Ross till I pressed his ass. All of a sudden, he started blabbering big time about what he knew about Ricky Ross and how he, as an FBI agent in Cincinnati with Ricky Ross, couldn't arrest him. Which raises some questions about who Ricky Ross may really be. Then we'll talk about the white media who came out and then spoke against the Mercury News story on the CIA to put pressure on them to try to dog the story out. Tomorrow we're going to look at the law that prohibits anyone of CIA from naming anyone else of CIA who was involved in a covert action project. So if they took what they found out about the CIA drugs, to the CIA to answer. But public law 97200 doesn't allow them to name anybody, and then they're exempt from search and review. Then what the hell they gonna come up with if the law prohibits them from coming up with it? Who's so stupid to ask them? We'll look at that tomorrow. And then we'll look at this book, which of course says that the primary constituent, these are two ex-CIA officers, Victor Marchetti and John Marks, the CIA and the Call of Intelligence. The principal constituency of the CIA is, CIA's principal constituency in the American public is the Council on Foreign Relations. The Council on Foreign Relations, their whole board of membership list we'll look at the 4 blacks who are the only blacks ever served. It's already back there on the tape that I have about that. We'll look at that. We'll look a little bit at the history of the CIA and what the SEAL means. The SEAL, the Arabian rolls with 16 points, rolls with 16 points, 1 and 6 equals 7. Everything in D.C. is on 16th Street. And what all of that means. The radiant spokes of the compass rolls depict the coverage of intelligence data from all areas of the world to a central point. And we'll be talking about that too. I guarantee you that you'll find the CIA analysis useful for you in your journey to fight against the CIA. One last thing I got to show you before I stop. Just one last thing in closing. I was really not feeling well when I got here, and been here a couple of days. I had to stay down, stay low for a couple of days just to get my strength back. This is the first day I've really been up and around, and a brother mentioned that they have a tribute for Malcolm before starting today's lecture. And when I did that Mysterious Deaths of New World Order lecture, in the cornerstone of it, the impact was New World Order took 2 men from us. And those 2 men were taken from us in New World Order. And we didn't know what it could have been if we had still had it. Very important. And that those 3 lectures back there, trying to lay an Afrocentric theory on New World Order, are excessively important. And what about Ron Brown? We didn't get to go there. Another bootleg man who got international. Martin King died, going international. Whitney Young died in Africa, going international. Mickey Leland died in Africa, going international. What is it about having sworn never to name those names that prohibit bootleg men from going international? And I talked to Ron Brown's son even a couple of weeks ago, and believe me, some of these people are aching to have me out front to help defend the death in their family, and then there's that other thing that scares them about trying. Now, but we get to that moment where they soon ain't gonna be scared to call a squad on the field that they want because they're running out of options and time's getting late. And that's the state of the race, time's getting late. Time is truly getting late. In fact, it's 11 o'clock. Time is late tonight. We're out of here. I appreciate y'all.